WWE Friday Night SmackDown after WrestleMania. We kick off the show with another banger after banger after banger as Imperium takes on the Brawling Brutes in a 6-man tag team match. Now, this was a very fun, action-packed way to kick off the show. The crowd was hot. You got these two factions have a lot of history with each other. You know, the organic baby faces versus the heels. Imperium was rocking some brand new navy blue attire, which looked really cool. You know, I'm a big fan of Imperium, man. I love the fact that they are all heels. However, they're still great technical wrestlers. You know, the mat is sacred to them. They wipe their feet before they enter the ring. You know, professional wrestling is an art to them. I love the fact that because not every single heel in professional wrestling has to be a coward like MJF or like The Miz, you know, who always want to avoid wrestling at all costs. It's very refreshing to see a heel faction. I was very relieved to see Gunther retain his Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania because Gunther's IC title reign has been one of my favorite IC title reigns in so many years. I mean, this guy holds the record for the longest time in the men's Royal Rumble match. This guy is inching up close to the Honky Tonk Man's record for the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. I mean, Gunther has had countless matches against the likes of Shinsuke Nakamura, Ricochet, Rey Mysterio, Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, so many more. I mean, like I said, Gunther is just so believable in that ring. Everything he does, it genuinely looks like he's trying to beat the shit out of you. I mean, I can just imagine being a wrestler, being told that you're going to step in the ring with Gunther. I would be terrified, man. I would be like, oh shit. With his brutal chops and his vicious style, you know you're not leaving that match the same man you were. I would even go as far as to say that I genuinely believe Gunther should hold the WWE Championship or the World Championship as long as Roman Reigns is one day. I mean, the guy is the perfect final boss. Imagine all the underdog baby faces he could get over. The guy is intimidating, he's menacing, he's unstoppable. This is a guy you revolve the entire brand around. I mean, this guy could hold that world title for years, and I could imagine it not getting stale. You know, he just brings a prestige, a legitimacy back to the Intercontinental Championship. And I'm very happy they decided not to pull the trigger of giving Sheamus his big win at WrestleMania. Now, I've heard the common argument that Sheamus should have won the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania, and I see why. He'll never be this over again. He'll never be as popular as he is now. You know, that Intercontinental Championship is the last title he needs to become a Grand Slam champion, cementing his name into legacy, letting him be known as one of the greats of all time. I mean, and also it's the grandest stage of them all. It's WrestleMania. I mean, I agree. The iron will never be as hot for Sheamus as it is now. And I absolutely love seeing Pete Dunne be a part of the Brawling Brutes, being associated with Sheamus. It seems to me like Sheamus's popularity is rubbing off on Pete Dunne with the main roster audience. He was one of my favorites back down in NXT Black and Gold. You know, he's just such a great technical wrestler, the joint manipulation. I'm really happy to see him being used. I really enjoyed his work as NXT UK champion and his great matches alongside Tyler Bate and Walter. But nevertheless, Sheamus wins the match for the Brawling Brutes as he delivers the bro kick to Giovanni Vinci, getting the big win for the babyfaces, popping the crowd while they're hot at the start of the night. No sign of Drew McIntyre at all throughout this match. I thought he was going to come out either during the match or after the match to further progress his storyline with Gunther and Sheamus. Now, going into WrestleMania and the triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship between Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, and Gunther, I genuinely believe there was a case for each one of these three guys to walk out of WrestleMania with the Intercontinental Championship. As for Gunther, like I said earlier, why fix what's not broken? I mean, have him become the longest Intercontinental Champion of all time. As for Sheamus, like we mentioned earlier, he's the most over he will ever be in his career. He wants to become the Grand Slam champion, solidify his name into legacy, the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania, give him his big last WrestleMania moment, you know? And then as for Drew McIntyre, I thought this was the most interesting scenario because I thought if Drew McIntyre were to walk away with the Intercontinental Championship, he would have to turn heel. Whether if it was Sheamus had Gunther Gunther beaten and Drew McIntyre breaks it up and steals the win, or maybe Drew McIntyre turns heel during the match, claymores Sheamus, and wins the Intercontinental title that way. Drew McIntyre has felt so stale ever since he lost the WWE Championship. I mean, the last couple years, he just hasn't really been doing anything memorable. I think it is the perfect time to turn him heel. It would be so refreshing for his character, and I think it would lead into such a great storyline, a blood feud, a blood rivalry between two old best friends, college roommates, grew up together, know each other's families, got into the wrestling business together. It would be such a great storyline. I think Sheamus would get even more over than he is now. And then they can lead up to a final blow-off match at SummerSlam where Sheamus finally gets his big win, wins the Intercontinental Championship from Drew McIntyre, and he becomes Grand Slam champion, gets his flowers, gets his big moment. I know it's not WrestleMania, but SummerSlam, biggest party of the summer. It's the second best. This is where we get a little bit suspicious that Vince McMahon might be back in creative. Because up next we had Ricochet with Braun Strowman taking on Ivar of the War Raiders. I mean, this match didn't go more than 5 minutes. Ricochet picked up the quick win. I know that Vince McMahon used to love to do the singles match between the two tag team competitors, vice versa, switch them out as the weeks go on, and then do a final blow-off tag team match at the end. After that match, we had a backstage segment. Once again, suspicious of Vince McMahon's booking. LA Knight approaches Xavier Woods in the back. Xavier Woods playing video games with his friends. LA Knight is upset that he wasn't on the WrestleMania card, and Xavier Woods tells him maybe the reason you weren't on the WrestleMania card is because you spend too much time talking and less time working. And then Xavier Woods challenges him to a match next week on SmackDown. LA Knight gets angry with him, grabs his controller, breaks it, throws it across the room. Very corny, very childish. You can tell this was a Vince McMahon segment. And honestly, I'm not sure why LA Knight is still feuding with the New Day. This is something I thought would have ended at WrestleMania. However, after that, we finally have the big announcement that everybody's been waiting for. The big announcement that everybody tuned into SmackDown for. Triple H makes his way to the ring. He greets the crowd. He thanks them for such a successful WrestleMania 39 in Hollywood, and he announces that the WWE Draft will be returning in a few weeks. All superstars will be eligible for the WWE Draft, including NXT superstars. There is no date confirmed yet. However, Triple H said it'll be in a few weeks, and that this draft will be a game changer. Now, I am very excited to hear about this. I have always been a big fan of the brand split. I've always thought it helps when you have an over-bloated roster. Having two separate, distinct rosters makes it a lot easier to build and showcase your mid-card and underhand talent. All the talent that usually has a match on Raw or SmackDown, then they're off TV for a few weeks and we don't see them until they have another match a month later. I mean, that allows them to be on television every week, to create storylines and rivalries, to build popularity so fans can get behind the guys. I really hope the brand split is taken seriously this time around and wrestlers from Raw don't appear on SmackDown and vice versa. I also hope we get a lot of NXT call-ups in the singles division and tag team division and women's division. There are a lot of wrestlers down there that have been more than ready to make the jump to the main roster for a long time now, and I really think it could help juice up the divisions up on the main roster. Up next, we have a tag team match between Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar versus the Judgment Day's Damian Priest and Dominik Mysterio. So the Judgment Day make their way to the ring, and before the match begins, the Judgment Day actually cut a promo in the ring. 4 individual promos from each member of the Judgment Day. Rhea Ripley begins by cutting a promo as the new SmackDown Women's Champion, sending a warning to all the women in WWE. Then, Finn Balor cuts a promo at Edge. He tells Edge that even though he won the Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania, that Finn Balor is the one who is still standing today, and Edge is nowhere to be seen. I thought that was a little odd, to be honest. I'm not sure why Finn Balor is still calling out Edge. I thought the Hell in a Cell was the big blow-off of their match, but nevertheless. Dominik Mysterio then cuts a promo on his father, on Rey Mysterio. He says that he didn't go all out at WrestleMania, that he went easy on his dad. He held back. That he decided not to get aggressive after the finish when Bad Bunny cost him the match. Of course, this got major boos from the crowd. I mean, before Dominik even cut this promo, he couldn't get a word out on the microphone. The crowds was booing him so hard, it took him a whole minute or two just to get his first phrase out. I thought
thought that was awesome. Anyways, to end off the promo, it was Damian Priest. He cuts a promo on Bad Bunny after the assault that he did on Bad Bunny at Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania. Once again, I'm very confused as to why Dominik is still calling his father out. I mean, I get it. It's the cheap pop. It's the best heel heat that Dominik has ever gotten of his career, this feud with his father, Rey Mysterio. But still, I just can't help but shake the feeling that the match at WrestleMania felt like the big blow-off. I feel like we should be moving in a different direction here for Judgment Day. But nevertheless, Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar make their way to the ring. Rey Mysterio hits the 619 on Dominik during the tag team match, which got a huge pop from the crowd. However, Damian Priest did end up hitting the Reckoning on Santos Escobar to pick up the win for the Judgment Day. So up next, we have the main event, as we got Sami Zayn versus Jey Uso. Before the match, we did have a few backstage segments throughout the night. First one was Sami Zayn talking to Kevin Owens, brand new tag team champions in the locker room. Sami Zayn was telling Kevin Owens that he somehow feels guilty. He feels a little bit bad for the Usos, for Jey Uso in particular. He feels bad that the bloodline is crumbling, the bloodline is cracking, and it's all because of Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. They beat the Usos at WrestleMania. Now Roman will be mad at them for losing the gold. And it's very believable. You know, I like this a lot because Sami Zayn, when he was a part of the bloodline, he would tell them week after week how he was not trying to play a game with them. He loved the bloodline. It was his family. He got a major spotlight from it. He became over with the main roster audience, so he loves the bloodline for that. I mean, it's very believable that he could feel guilty, he could feel bad after ending the record-setting reign of the Usos. Kevin Owens tells Sami Zayn that it's a bad idea, that after everything that happened, Jey Uso will not let you just walk on into his locker room and have a nice conversation with you. Which I agree with Kevin Owens, makes sense, but I see where Sami Zayn is coming from. Nevertheless, after that, we got a promo from the Bloodline. We have a backstage interview with the Wise Man, Paul Heyman, and the Enforcer, Solo Sikoa, and also, main event, the right-hand man, Jey Uso. So Jey Uso says, "What's up, my wise man?" greets Paul Heyman. He goes to greet Solo Sikoa, but Solo Sikoa was pissed. I mean, Solo Sikoa was giving him the stink eye. He was mad dogging Jey Uso. I thought that was very intriguing. You can tell that Solo is upset that the Usos lost the tag team title and made the Bloodline look weak at WrestleMania and lost the big problem with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Then Jey Uso asked Paul Heyman, "Hey, where's Jimmy? Where's my brother?" When then Paul Heyman tells him, the tribal chief told Jimmy to stay home tonight. You know, he thinks that you should beat Sami Zayn on your own tonight, have nothing to do with the bloodline. You know, this very suspicious behavior coming from the bloodline. Jey Uso can tell, with Solo staring him down, with Jimmy being absent, with the tribal chief Roman Reigns giving out all these weird orders. So I liked it. Very intriguing. And then the last segment before we got into the main event was Sami Zayn finally approached Jey Uso. Jey Uso tries to warn Sami Zayn when he sees him. He goes, "Sammy, get out of here. We got a plan set for tonight. You can't be here." Sami Zayn tells Jey Uso, he doesn't care. He goes, "Come on, Jey. How do you not see what is going on? How have you not seen what's been happening the last year? I mean, come on. Look at the stare Solo gave you. Look at what Paul Heyman told you. Look at the orders the tribal chief is giving you. It's just a matter of time that Roman is going to turn on you. Roman is using you for his own benefit. You got to get out of it while you still can, You can fight with us. You can become main event Jey Uso. You can be a babyface. And Jey Uso, it looked like it was really getting to him, but then out of nowhere from the background, you hear bang, a big clank, and you hear Kevin Owens screaming. Sami Zayn runs over, and you see Kevin Owens' foot, his ankle, is stuck underneath some of the backstage equipment, one of those heavy crates. Sami Zayn lifts it. He gets Kevin Owens' foot free, but Kevin Owens, the damage has been done. He's injured. He's messed up, and you can see Solo Sikoa standing in the back, watching, smiling. So it's obvious that Solo Sikoa was the one who assaulted Kevin Owens. There's probably a part of the plan that Jey Uso was trying to warn Sami about. But nevertheless, Jey Uso makes his way to the ring, Sami Zayn afterwards, and the main event is underway. So at the finish of the match, while the ref was distracted, Solo Sikoa hits the Samoan spike on Sami Zayn, and it allows Jey Uso to hit the super kick for the 1, 2, 3. Jey Uso wins the match, but after the match is where it got very interesting, because Solo Sikoa joins the ring to celebrate with Jey Uso, and Solo Sikoa then gets on the mat and bam, starts wailing on Sami Zayn, delivering headbutts and punches to the head. And he will not stop. And Jey Uso is very conflicted, looking at him from a corner. Now, I think this was a test from Roman Reigns. You know how Roman Reigns said earlier he wanted Jimmy Uso to stay home so Jey Uso could get this done on his own? I think this was kind of a final test from Roman. I think Roman is upset with Jey Uso for losing the tag team titles to Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens at WrestleMania. And he told Solo, hey, beat up Sami after the match. I want to see if Jey Uso will protect Sami, will turn for Sami, become main event Jey Uso, go babyface, join forces with Sami and KO to fight the bloodline. Or I want to see if Jey Uso will align with you, assault Sami Zayn, and, prove his allegiance to the bloodline. And Jey Uso, very conflicted, like I said, as Solo Sikoa is pounding on Sami Zayn. When it looked like Solo Sikoa was getting Sami Zayn up, he wielded his arm back for another Samoan spike, but Jey Uso catches the arm of Solo Sikoa. He stops him. The crowd goes crazy. Everybody thought that Jey Uso was going to turn, and I genuinely believe that Jey Uso was considering turning. He thought, you know what, I can align myself with Sami Zayn, with Kevin Owens. Matt Riddle's back now. Randy Orton will come back now. We can take down the bloodline. I can become the tribal chief. I can become main event Jey Uso. I can be a star on my own. I think that was running through his head. But then I think Jay smartened up. I think while he was looking at the eyes of Solo, he realized this is a test. Roman sent Solo to do this to see what I would do. So Jey Uso came to his senses. He super kicked Sami Zayn. He solidified that there is no relationship between him and Sami Zayn. It probably made Roman Reigns happy to watch that. The bloodline assault Sami Zayn. And as it looks like there's no help for Sami Zayn because Kevin Owens has been assaulted earlier on, and now the bloodline is wailing on him in the ring. Bro, Matt Riddle makes his return and makes his way to the ring. He fights off Solo Sikoa, fights off Jey Uso. He comes to the aid of Sami Zayn, and they both stand tall in the ring as the bloodline is chased off the ramp to end off SmackDown. I really liked what they did in the finish with Jey Uso and Solo Sikoa. I think it was very wise of Jey Uso to realize that it was a trick from Roman, smarten up, super kick Sami Zayn. I mean, he's not locking the door on the bloodline turn, but he's at least closing it for now, which I like it at some progression in the storyline. I do want to see Roman Reigns come out soon in these upcoming weeks and confront the Usos, Jey Uso in particular, for losing the tag team titles and making the bloodline look weak. Also, I am a big fan of Matt Riddle's return. With the draft coming up in a few weeks and him coming out on SmackDown tonight, looks like he's going to be feuding with Solo Sikoa.
This makes a lot of sense, and Solo Sikoa was the one who injured Matt Riddle initially and took him out of action. Solo Sikoa also injured Matt Riddle's partner, Randy Orton, a year ago and took him out of action. I know that Randy Orton's not ready to return quite yet, but I think it could make for a quite interesting story if Randy Orton returns to help assist his friend Matt Riddle against the bloodline, or maybe he returns and turns heel on Matt Riddle and we start that long program. I really hope that this rivalry between Solo Sikoa and Matt Riddle really elevates Matt Riddle into the next level of his game, because back in NXT Black and Gold, I mean, the guy was such a great professional wrestler in that ring, and he's so believable, and I can't stand the whole comedy shtick that Matt Riddle has done on the main roster with the whole scooter and the 420 bro and the come hit my bong bro. I think it's childish. I think it's corny. I just think, there's room to leave a little bit of the comedy stuff. You can leave the bro stuff. There was some stuff that worked back in NXT, like the Bobby Fish, how many fish can a Bobby Fish fry if Bobby Fish could fry fish? There's some comedy stuff that's worked with the guy. I get it. He's funny, but I just think he's really aggressive in that ring. He's a former MMA fighter. I think the guy has an ability to have a Kurt Angle-like run. But nevertheless, I'm very excited to see how this storyline will progress over the next few weeks now that Matt Riddle has returned and joined forces with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens to take down the bloodline. I'm also very excited to see where the draft is going to take us. Hopefully it is a game changer like Triple H said. I want to believe him, but he didn't say it with the most confidence in his face, and with the whole state of the WWE right now with Vince McMahon and the sale to Endeavor and the merger with UFC, it's a very unreliable state right now, so we'll have to wait and see as the weeks progress. But nevertheless, that was the Friday Night SmackDown after WrestleMania. I hope you guys all enjoyed my review. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and we hope to see you all next time.